What's good, guys? It's Ilsun 4K, and today we're here to talk about the latest game that's been eating up everybody's last week and a half, mine included, which is why it took so long to get this video out, and I apologize, Elden Ring. Yes, Elden Ring is actually out, and the hype actually lived up to it. And to answer your question right away, should you buy Elden Ring for yourself? I say yes, but I say yes with caution. Because this is a game in the Souls type of series, which is actually a very difficult series of non-stop grinding for your character, where you start out lowly and work your way up and build your character in a direction of either magic or fighting, aggression, melee type of affairs. It's really a unique game series that requires a lot of patience and timing, and this is a game that falls into that. So if you've ever played a Souls game, I want you to be aware immediately you're familiar with this game, and if you enjoyed it, you'll absolutely enjoy this game, because in addition to being a Souls game, this game is a fantastic game. This game is many games hidden in one, and I don't know how to word it any other way, that this game reminds me of so much stuff. There's stealth aspects that remind me of stealth games such as Metal Gear Solid. There's parts of this game that remind me of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and not just the structure, but some enemy designs and stuff like that. I get vibes of Prince of Persia, and at the same time, it's this massive fantasy world element game that matters so much, because unless you're into I want to get into Elder Scrolls and, all that stuff, and Skyrim, all that, I don't know if that's the same thing or not, but you have to be so into the lore prior to it that just getting into it is almost a little, overwhelming, because you want to make sure you understand things and get past references. But with this, it's more or less a game based on, what's his name? The guy who writes Game of Thrones. I forgot his name. His name escapes me right now. But more or less, it's based on his characters, and it's this gigantic fantasy game that really takes you and places you in a world that has no other way of describing it other than unique and beautiful. I've never played a game that required me to think so much in so many different ways in such a short amount of time of playing it. I'm talking weaponry, upgrading, all that stuff is here. Upgrading weapons, absolutely. I've actually learned that you can only upgrade weapons to a certain point at a smith station, and then after that you have to go somewhere else to learn how to upgrade weapons. You can't just keep on going back. The game is so well thought out and linear while being non-linear that it's capable to literally miss how to level up in the first hour of the game like I did. I literally did not figure out how to level up in the first hour of the game. It was impossible for me to figure out, so I thought, until I went to where I was supposed to go and I met this chick at night like I was supposed to, and everything was good. And that's one thing I really got to say about this game. If you're into games that hold your hand and have markers and flashers where you're supposed to go, this is not the game for you at all, whatsoever. There isn't really much need to, how do I word it? There isn't really much need for this game to tell you how to do anything, even in a side quest. I mean, let's take a game for like Red Dead Redemption, for example, where you get a side quest and you can pull it up at any time using a mission, the mission button, holding up or left or whatever. This game, a woman gave me a side quest, and I waited for something to pop up, and nothing popped up, and when I finally found the place, it was on accident, and I still don't know where to go back to give it to her. So again, the game is not very linear. In the beginning, you more or less start playing as your entry-level character, and you're given out into the world, and you start finding these things called graces. Now, a spot of grace is more or less a save point, which you're definitely going to need, because as I state, you die a lot. You find a grace, you touch it, boom, new save point, you're on your way. You go out there and you kill enemies and you get runes. Sometimes you find runes on the ground, but when you do this, you kill enemies and you get runes, and you work your way to a level up, as I stated. So let's say, for example, level 1 is 1,000 runes, right? You kill enemies, you get 1,000 runes, you level up to level 2, then it's 1,500 to get to level 2, so on and so forth. And that's why it's important to decide early on what you want to be, magic or melee, attack, fighting type of style, because it only gets so easy. I don't die that often, but when I do, it's frustrating as shit, because then you lose your runes. Runes, of course, are, like I said, the currency in the game to buy it. So every time you die, you lose your runes, but if you can get back to where you lost your runes, you may keep your runes. So if you die with 25,000 runes, which is a shit ton of runes, and you want to go back and get them, you're more than welcome to, but you better pray you don't die on the way back, or else you lose everything. And that was really terrifying, because for I think an hour after I beat the boss that I just told you about, I got 10,000 runes or so, or 20,000 runes actually, and I sat on them and I kept on dying, and my heart would stop beating. The good news is, the rune spots do save if you turn the game off after you die and you go back to play the game. So you can always go back and grab your runes at some point or another, as they are marked on the map, and you'll see them clearly marked when you're looking for them. More or less, the enemy types are very broad and varied. You could go from fighting a bunch of little guys who give you maybe 10 runes per kill to finding a bunch of little guys in another area, like I mentioned, where you can find 1,000 runes per kill. But the fighting variation between them is unbelievably different. There's no such thing as like a real copy and paste enemy. I don't feel like I found a palette swap of any enemies yet, to be quite honest with you, at all whatsoever. I mean, every enemy is that unique and different and fights with their own pattern and their own weapons. And the weapons, maybe some of the swing animations look the same, but the weapon attributes are completely different. And the abilities to just do everything with the weapons, like I said, from leveling up your weapons to your shield, is just infinite. And the way you can, like I said, curve your character to more or less give you what you're looking for out of the game just makes it the ultimate in customization. You really have to admire all that was put into this game. This game actually really did live up to the hype, in my opinion. And I would gladly, if there was a way to have gotten this game and paid extra to pay it days early, like you could with Cyberpunk last year. Yeah, who remembers that one? I would have done it, absolutely. That was totally something that was worth the wait. And I can't believe how much it lived up to the hype for a game that I only started caring about like a month ago. Really? I just started hearing about this game a month ago, and it blew me away. And here I am playing it with these beautiful graphics and the ability to sneak around, and you can just go out there and run into boss enemies that you can try and fight and chip damage down to death before you even have the capabilities of doing it, because if you're that good at this game, you can actually fight bosses that you're levels above and win. We've all seen the crazy YouTube videos of Souls, and this is no different. If you're really good, and I've attempted it, I just don't have the patience and or talent to do it long term, you can actually make it so that way, like I said, you can level up and beat the game out and just have a blast with it. I'm totally going to say, as far as what I don't like about the game, is it's almost too open if you're not ready for it. That's, again, a user-based thing. I don't think there's a lot of people out there that are going to buy this game and just open it up and be like, I don't know where to go. But there's going to be a lot of people. Yeah, there's going to be people. Not a lot of people, but there's going to be people out there that are like, yeah, man, I don't know about this. I mean, there's a shot out there. Someone took a picture of it in GameStop. Maybe it's fake. Of a pre-owned copy of this game going for $54.99, and someone wrote on the top of it, you know, the Tree Sentinel gave this guy hell before he brought this back. And that's not unlikely. A lot of people have returned this game, and a lot of people will return this game because it is not very hand-holding at all. I would say that's the actual hardest part of it, if I had to give my opinion of it. The one thing I don't like about the gameplay is is that the non-hand-holding is definitely going to turn off a lot of people, and that's a shame, because this game is a great game. The fighting system is totally doable and understandable. The variation in all the weapons between the sphere and the big gigantic sword that I have is just unbelievable. I mean, I've seen people with weapons that look like they came from other games, and it turns out they have spoofed some other games, such as the Sword of Berserkers in this game, and that's the only spoiler I'm going to give away. There's a lot of unique weapons and awesomeness in this game. The throwing weapons I haven't even really tried. I'm actually more a fan of the ability to cast magical spells. I learned about there's these things called ashes, and when you use ashes, you're actually able to ring a bell and have the enemies of dead enemies that you fought come and fight people. So I have the ashes of a goblin, I have the ashes of soldiers, and I have the ashes of skeleton people, and I can make them come and fight with me in a battle against a boss. I can't use them everywhere, and I haven't completely figured it out, but it seems like anytime I really need to use them, like a gigantic boss battle, it's totally a capable affair for me to be able to do this. I gotta say, I totally recommend the game on the gameplay. Moving on from the gameplay into the story is very, very great. I'm not gonna lie. That's the only way I'm gonna word it, is very, very great. It's not amazing. It's not, oh my god, but it's great. I'm a big fan of fantasy. This delivers on the fantasy type of tip. Again, it's a Elden Ring game. You're searching for the Elden Ring. You're this character who is known as a Tarnished, and because you're a Tarnished, you're trying to redeem yourself, looking for your redemption arc, you could say, and it just allows you the ability to really build in a direction where you can go and have fun. And you're actually able to turn down people to work for them. You're able to do favors for people and deny them. The storyline is very, very open. It's not so storyline driven. It's just amazing how much of this game you can play without ever really messing with the storyline heavily and just walking around and finding new people. I want to say the story so far is like, I don't know, I give it an 8 out of 10 if I had to give it a solid. because story is a big thing nowadays, but this game is just a very unique affair. It almost doesn't need a story because of how like action oriented and driven you are to just strive to be the best that you can and attain all that is needed. But all things needed, you still need a story for a game. The fact this came from, I think his name is R.R. Martin, now that I'm remembering his name. The fact it came from R.R. Martin and his whole characters and the whole Game of Thrones series just fits so well because you fight so many awesome mythical beings that fit. And moving on, we have to talk about the graphics. Holy shit. This game is breathtaking. I mean, absolutely mind-blowingly breathtaking. I love the game to death. I couldn't put it any other way than beautiful. I've been playing a lot of Dying Light, which is a really, really graphically awesome game. Before that, I was playing God of War, which again, mind-blowing graphics. I was playing Hitman 3, all that stuff. Playing Doom Eternal. I was playing a lot of good graphical games recently. And then this came along and just really just took everything and elevated it. This is supposedly a game that moved a genre forward, but this game definitely is a game that's moving video games forward, without a doubt, graphically. It is a very, very breathtaking open world. The way the wind blows, the foliage works, the draw distance. I have the PC version, so you know I have insane 4K quality. Everything about this game is beautiful. The bosses are ginormous and huge and scary, and they have the ability to one-shot kill you if you get too close like they should. They can step on you and crush you. Dragons are in this game that are absolutely fucking unreal to take on and try and fight. They have fire, they fly, and I mean, it's just unbelievable. I've had a blast just looking at all that this game has to offer in terms of enemy design. The landscapes are another thing that's absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, this is a fantasy game, so you know the bar is high on something that has no real definitive limits in terms of its imagination. It's an amazing game in terms of how it looks. The mountainous ranges to the forest to the beachfronts to just looking out into the vast blue water from a cliff top is so incredible. The depth of everything, the way you look down a cliff and it looks like it's supposed to, the way the light looks in the distance as you run up to it and you watch it draw nearer and see the glow grow. Enemies just popping out, blended into the background so well because they're like that. Ooh, pardon me, getting so excited, getting gassy. The graphics are just unbelievable, and it's a beautiful game, and I would totally just recommend playing it in the highest quality capacity that you can, because it's a very actually low graphically demanding game, which I found very unique. My PC version of it is capped to 60 frames per second, 60 frames per second, and what's the word I'm looking for, in 4K, so I can't really complain there. I do have to say that graphically I have no complaints. It doesn't really look like anything it's not supposed to. It looks like everything it's supposed to. It's a fantasy world game where the designers took the liberties with lighting effects and open worldness, and the fact that it's not just taking place in one type of forest setting and just went to town. It's absolutely insane, and I haven't seen all of the map yet. No, I haven't beat the game, to answer your question, at all. So that's why I gotta be honest with you, you need to check this game out. This game is absolutely breathtaking. If you have the stomach for it, you have to really understand and be down for accomplishments and spend a lot of time to put it into here, because I understand why this is a divided game, and I feel that this definitely needed its own coverage from me, because I've never played this type of game before, so that puts me in an unbiased affair where I'm not just like, oh, you guys need to get good, because this is the game of getting good, that's for sure, 100% get good. Sorry, I just been fucking loving that thing. I gotta make a thing for that on my stream. But again, you guys really should at least check it out if you're able to on Game Pass or some free app like that. But I would really suggest that if you're familiar with the Souls games and you like them, you check it out. If you're familiar with a unique game that you've never played before, which is an ironic statement, if you've never played a Souls game before and you've never played a game that really makes you level up and grind and allows you to have the capacity to literally be all that you can be by putting in what you want to put in and get back, and also the ability to just roam this gorgeous, breathtaking world and see these vibrant enemies and friends and these attacks and these magic spells and summoning things from the ground and seeing the way the light flares from them. It's just unbelievable. It's a game that you absolutely have to witness and experience if you have the time and patience for it. Otherwise, you might want to pass on it if it sounds a little experience daunting and scary, and the fact that, oh man, after you get so many runes, how much fun can you really have? You know, do you just end up grinding the whole time? And the answer is no. You don't end up grinding the whole time. It gets to a point where you just progress the story and you have a good time. But you have to be aware you're going to get to enemies that are extremely frustrating and very enjoyable when you finally do beat them. So make sure you check it out. And if you guys want to check out this game, make sure you check me out every Monday and Tuesday night, twitch.tv/Ilsun4K. You can find me there streaming this game this weekend and probably for quite some time. I'm also doing Dying Light just to break up the monotony. Dying Light 2, of course. And thanks again for checking out the video. Make sure you check out Elden Ring if you can. If you're not about it, pass on it and save the headaches because it is a frustrating game if you're not about it. Thanks again, guys. It's Ilsun4K.